I guess just what did you guys think so far? The first 2 episodes. I'll let you go ahead.
I guess I'll go. I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, I've liked it. Like the first episode is just real slow, but I think for good reason. Like it's been a while since we've seen Obi-Wan, especially Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan. Which I'll tell you, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about the prequels, but one of the few things I liked consistently through all of them was Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan. Like I was up and down on Christensen and all that, but Obi-Wan or Hayden, not Hayden, I'm sorry, Ewan. I was a fan of. But it was nice to see him just take their time, kind of set up the characters, kind of get reacquainted with where he's at. Like, it doesn't happen, immediately after, 3. There's been a few years where, Luke's been growing up and Leia's off, doing her thing. So you kind of got to see just the toll that just living life as a hermit's kind of, taking on Obi-Wan, which is nice. I'm trying to think of anything else in particular. That first episode just was, setting up or laying the groundwork for it. 2 definitely was a little more action-y. And I like kind of, where they're going with it on that. What kind of planet is it? Is it like a, I don't know, smuggling planet or something?
Did I write in my notes? I don't think I actually wrote it in my notes, no.
No, it's not super
It's not
important, but
super
I like that
important.
they're moving around. Like they're not all just stuck on Tatooine. Actually, when I first heard about this, I'm thinking, well, that's what it's going to be. He's just stuck on Tatooine, and he's going to interact with people there. So it's nice that he's going on a vacation, a little field trip. And it shifts the tone a lot as he moves through. So it's nice to kind of see him, pick up the lightsaber again, start getting actiony, and all that fun stuff.
It was
I don't know
definitely cool
if
getting
you.
to see like Organa and all them back, and even getting to see the one stormtrooper. What was his the one clone, kind of sitting there as a
Oh,
as a
yeah.
beggar, just like
Yeah.
asking for change. I was hoping so bad he would like look at Ewan and be like almost recognize him, but he just kind of didn't.
Mm.
Although I guess it would be ridiculous to expect every clone to know what Obi-Wan looked like. So I don't know.
Well, Obi-Wan's apparently a pretty famous Jedi. I mean, he's pretty sought after, apparently. So, I don't know if you were getting this feel at all, but one of the first things when like you were here, like seeing grumpy Obi-Wan at the beginning, was I was getting parallels to Old Man Luke
Oh
from
man,
the
Luke.
new trilogy, and just kind of, I mean, it's different, but I know we have our own opinions on how they handle Luke in the new series, and like if you're gonna go this route of kind of old disgruntled Jedi who's kind of ambivalent to things, I like the way they're handling Obi-Wan's track of doing that as opposed to how they did Luke in the actual movies.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting comparison. I mean, I would just say like it's less like something I appreciate about how they're handling it is it's definitely less jokey. They definitely handled Luke's kind of hermit, running away to a planet. As it felt like it was kind of a constantly a
Played it for
joke.
laughs
It was
sometimes, yeah.
laughs with him throwing the saber and drinking
The milk.
the alien milk, and
Which I will say, if you ever make your way to the Star Wars attractions at Disney, that blue milk's actually really delicious. So Luke
Disagree.
might have been onto
Disagree.
something.
Hard pass.
do I get to actually milk the alien? No, I'm kidding.
You gotta pay extra
Pay a
for
little
it.
extra. Yeah, pay
Mickey
extra
Puff's
for
like,
it. There's some
oh,
good eye around the
$5
corner.
extra.
I was joking. No.
I'm not.
But yeah, like I said, it just felt like it was constantly played for jokes, and it definitely seemed as though Rain Johnson, when he made that, like, again, if everyone's always said it, but he was like just constantly trying to subvert expectations, and he would throw in jokes when they were serious moments, and then throw in serious moments when some for things that's supposed to be jokes, and it constantly felt like he was trying to throw things on their head, and I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my point. Like, it didn't feel like the right track for Luke, and especially the way they did it, but it feels right for Obi-Wan and the way they're handling it. So, just thought it was an interesting kind of comparison.
Yeah. Were there any other like? I mean, I would just say just like right from the beginning. Just I don't know if we skipped it, but like I actually really love the recap, and I know that again you mentioned it for like people who may not have liked the prequels. I like the prequels to an extent. I mean, I don't absolutely love them. I guess I'll throw it out there. In my opinion, the only true Star Wars were 3 movies that were made in the late 70s and early 80s. That's my personal opinion of like the best Star Wars. But sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was never mind. You keep talking.
Oh, you threw your finger up. I thought you were like, excuse
Well,
me.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to talk about which one of the prequels you actually liked, and I was about Episode 1. That was the one that I actually enjoyed the most.
I think all of them are. I think all of them are deeply flawed. I would say the most enjoyable one for me is 1, but I think it's just because I saw 1 at a super young age, and the whole pod racing scene when you're like a little 10-year-old like seemed really freaking cool. Watching all
And
the
Darth
pod...
Maul, man, like he's still one of the best villains in the whole saga.
Yeah, he plays he's a really cool toad guy as well. What is it?
But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to kind of go through. I guess I'll mention it. Like, we don't have to go too deep on it, but I guess one of the biggest things that is a major talking point. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but apparently the actor that plays Reva, one of the Inquisitors, apparently she's been receiving, some negative feedback. I mean, apparently people have been pretty mean to her online. I kind of wanted to just bring it up just for on my part to say I didn't think she was that bad or good. I mean, I just didn't think it was anything. Her acting or any of her scenes were worthy of like any sort of.
Have we even seen enough of her
It's
to
been
make
2
that kind of a
episodes,
determination? Seriously,
Yeah. I just didn't think there was enough there for like any sort of hate or dislike. It's just like you said, we're 2 episodes in. It's like, how much could you possibly dislike?
I don't think anything she's done has been terrible. Like they're setting her up. Like she's been fine so far. As I'm not going to give her an Oscar yet, but there's nothing that's been just flat out, man, that's the worst performance I've seen or anything like that. Like people aren't giving her a chance, and I'm sure there's some biases built into that, unfortunately. But I don't know. I think what she's done so far has been fine, and I'm definitely willing to kind of see what she does for their character moving forward.
Apparently, it was so bad, Ewan McGregor had to
I saw that.
Felt obligated to put out a message and say, listen, she's been a good actor. Like, I don't know what she's not. Doesn't need any of this. I don't know.
It sounds like, and I haven't looked into all of it, but it means people being hateful about it, which is the important thing. Like, if you have a critique, you can, say your critique, that's fair, but you should never attack somebody. Never attack the person behind it either. Like, even if you don't like the character or the direction they've taken it, like, that's not the actor's fault. I mean, they're doing a job, right? So it's not their fault for being hired on and taking an opportunity. I mean, I don't know. It's just crappy that people are going that direction.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of one thing, and I guess another thing is I don't think a lot of people liked little kid Leia, which I didn't. I thought it was kind of corny at first, but like it's like, dude, it's Princess Leia. Like, whatever, she's a kid. I don't know. People didn't kind of, I guess, like some of her scenes or something. I did think it was a little weird how she was, as like a 3-year-old, able to like outrun like fully grown.
Have you ever chased a 3-year-old before? Okay.
She's not 3 in
she's
that,
probably
but
like 5 or 6 or something. But yeah.
I think she comes across older than that.
Really?
But regardless, I mean, she's a kid actor, so I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of cringe no matter what. But I didn't have an issue with that. The only thing I did take issue with, and this is the one thing I'm not sure if they're like retconning or if they didn't catch or it's a mistake. I don't know if you caught it. So go back to the original trilogy, A New Hope, and the Leia message that she sends to Obi-Wan. Like the way it's directed is, hey, you used to know my father back in the Clone Wars. There's never any acknowledgement of, hey, remember that time you came and rescued me when I was 8 years old? Like, it was a direct message to Obi-Wan relating, to him, or I'm sorry, him helping them out with no recollection they've ever met. And now you have them running around together. And I know it's under the premise of, oh, his name's Ben. But you have, the Inquisitor shouting Obi-Wan Kenobi behind him. So unless this girl's deaf.
Maybe they mind wipe her or something at the end of the season.
Well, I wonder if they're going to have some crappy kind of way to, rewrite it. But, I mean, right off the bat, that's just... And one, say it was Disney. Continuity in Disney is not, necessarily the best the way they've kind of handled their track record. So I don't have a lot of faith that this was, something they're going to fix or, correct. It seems like an error or at least an oversight. They didn't catch that unless I'm missing something, which is completely possible. But to me, it sounds like, if I was a kid who got rescued by a Jedi named Obi-Wan when I was 10, I'm not going to forget that 10 years down the line when I send off this message. So I don't know. I'm a nerd though.
Maybe they should have made her younger. That way, it's more feasible for her to forget something. Like maybe if she was like a newborn running away from those guys in the woods.
I mean,
have you ever been around a child before?
My daughter never forgets, and she will let me know it. But anyway, that was my biggest critique. Is just continuity wise, that threw me off a bit. But I will say, I did like seeing Flea. That was fun.
I loved seeing Flea. Like, right when I saw Flea, I was like, Flea! It was definitely interesting. And it's so funny to kind of see, like, I know Star Trek was like this way back in the the 80s and 90s where like the shows and movies get so big that like, or people just like become fans and they're just like, I want in on that. Like I know like Iggy Pop was in on Star Trek episodes, and there's so many stories of all these other actors that are like, dress me up as an alien, throw me in there, I want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So it is cool to see Flea get in, and there was somebody else in on this episode. I don't remember who. Oh, I'm not going to try and remember it. But I guess I will say like what did you guys think of? We're doing spoilers, right? I mean, I guess we've kind of already been.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
I should have done that. Should have done that already. I just saw who else? Kumail Nanjiani. It was you could tell he was just like, oh, I want to be a part of Star Wars too. I actually kind of liked his character too.
It was funny. I mean,
it was jarring
to your point.
First.
It was pretty jokey, like you were saying earlier. Like so I like it sometimes they take it a little more seriously, but it was a fun moment to see him be a fake Jedi. So.
Mm-hmm. And what did you guys think of the Grand Inquisitor? That was a spoiler I didn't want to bring up. What did you think of the Grand Inquisitor being killed off so early?
I was not expecting that. I don't know a lot about the Grand Inquisitor. I mean, I know he was in like the Clone Wars series.
Lore, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know exactly where he fits into everything. So I was kind of surprised to see him bite the dust so soon. But like fine. I don't have any ties to that character. So
yeah. Anything else? Oh, I actually really love the Velociraptor species. One of the bounty hunters, the Velociraptor that was like chasing him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting little thing. I guess just one other thing for me is, did you guys feel like any of the callbacks or returning characters? Did you feel like anything was forced or anything stood out, or did you feel like everything kind of flowed and I don't know, didn't feel out of place in any way?
When you say returning characters, I mean the only ones I can really think of, you have like I
meant callbacks,
the Organa,
just like core callback. Yeah, anything from. Because I know sometimes with some of these Star Wars stuff, like sometimes they'll throw in something that for me is just like, why is this here? You know what I mean? Like I don't need to know any more about this. No,
I didn't feel like anything was overly forced.
Yeah, no, I thought it was immersive. I was into it.
Cool.
I liked the sneaky Jawa at the beginning who broke his AC and tried to sell parts back to him.
Houdini!
Yeah.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
But I guess, so, I mean, I guess we'll definitely talk about episode 3. I mean, was there anything else major that we're missing? I mean, I'm sure there's a couple things. We got our major points.
There's not a lot in these 2 episodes. Like, I'm very interested. I mean, I definitely want to see how they bring Vader into it and Hayden Christensen. So, I mean, that hook's going to pull me through, I think, quite a bit, regardless of, any ups and downs the show has. But right now, the show's just been fine. It hasn't been spectacular yet. It hasn't been bad. It's just, it's been safe, but maybe that's what it needed to be to kind of get people in.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, JC.
What's that?
No, I thought you looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk a little bit about, like, I feel like they did it with care. I mean, I know you got a retcon issue that you pointed out right off the bat, but it felt like they really had care with it because the first episode was slow. They took all this time to set the tone that it was this, like, desolate place and that everybody hates Obi-Wan, everyone they has in contact with, which he has very little contact. And I wonder if it almost speaks to like the age of the people who watched the first ones and are maybe older now watching this and putting themselves in that kind of shoes. Like, when life beats you down so far, it's like you either like die, you either turn it around, or you like exist and carry on. And he's like in that exist, carry on. I'm like, oh my God, I feel that. Like, they took a lot of time with that. I really liked the contrast in the second episode where it's like all the bounty hunters are chasing him and he's got his charlatan Jedi being like, lending him a hand and getting him off the planet. Like, whereas he was in this place where they all hated him, like, and now a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about him is like, all right.
Since you bring it up, that I will say that was my only like scene that I actually like didn't like. And don't get me wrong, I guess thinking about it's not as bad, but the whole scene where Kid Leia is running away from him, I felt like it was a bit cringy, but there are people online who have come out and said, listen, I mean, if you know Leia from the original, she was feisty and was annoying.
She's precocious.
Yeah. Yes. It is very on character. I still thought it was a little odd in a way, but I mean, it at least made.
Well, I think you're a kid who just got kidnapped, and you don't know who this guy is. I mean, I'd run away too. I mean, especially if he's being a little, shaky on who he is. Yeah, like,
Stranger
I don't know. That'll seem natural enough. I mean, it's frustrating to you. It's frustrating to you as the audience member because you're like, oh, come on, just hang out with him so the story can progress. But I think it's a natural, behavior for her to have.
And all she asked was for a little bit of proof. All she wanted was the float. Okay, is that so much to ask?
I guess. So how much, and how quickly do you think we're gonna get good old Hayden? Do you think they're right in episode 3? Do you think hopefully soon? How much do you want to see of Darth Vader?
I mean, I don't know how many episodes they slotted this for. I think they would tease him a little more next time. I don't think we'll see any kind of big interactions or reveal till the following episode, but I could be wrong.
No.
I don't know. They killed off the Grand Inquisitor very unexpectedly. We don't know what they're going to do quickly.
I would hope they don't, jump the shark, if you will, too soon. Like, that's the big moment everybody's waiting for. Think back, and I know we're, backtracking, but the Halo TV show, the one thing they kind of could have held on to kind of sucker people in was not revealing his face, and they revealed it immediately. And for me, that just lost a whole lot of intrigue and mystery.
JC get to watch any of that?
She watched like the first episode. So.
But I'm not into the Halo lore like you guys are, so I was like, ooh, bloody action, yeah.
Well, to be honest, that show, the bloody action, lacking wasn't the problem. We won't go too deep on it. That show had...
Yeah, and I'm not trying to,
you didn't want to talk about it anymore.
No,
I was only saying that because that was an example of a show that kind of played their hand really, really fast, and I don't think that helped them. So I would hope that this show takes it slow, does some character building, teases Vader a little bit. That way, it's a bigger moment when it does happen. Like, if he pops up, in episode 3, and there's still, 8 more episodes after that, I don't know. I feel like that's going to either drag it out or not have anything to really look forward to. Because I said that's the thing, the hook that's pulling me along right now is I want to see Vader. Hold off a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And, we want to see Obi-Wan struggle a little bit with it, because he just now, in this last episode, figured out that he's still alive. We haven't even seen him, have his inner turmoil over it yet. We need to see some struggle, all right?
And I like the whole struggle of him trying to, deal with Leia and Luke while he has the pain of what happened with little Annie hovering above his head, like that. That's a really interesting story. I'm trying to remember how did opposed to the story of Luke, of why Luke didn't like Rey, or not Rey. What was his name? What was his Padawan? Who's the main villain of the sequel? What's the name?
It was Kylo Ren, his name was Ben.
Man, my brain did not work.
As to why he has trouble teaching that kid, as opposed to that was just because of a dream. I don't know. I just thought it was. I just feel like Obi-Wan definitely has more. He actually has a reason to be whoa. I can't go through it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the whole reason he's hanging out there, is to be if he shows potential, then he'll be there.
I was surprised too that he really didn't care at all about Leia initially when he was, approached to go and save her. I just care about the kid, the boy. I mean, I'm like, man, that's cool.
I know.
Just because in this world, it's not men are any more force sensitive than women, to my knowledge. I mean, you got plenty of Jedis and Master Jedis that are women, so why would he just assume that Luke is going to be the best one? And funny thing, I read this recently. I wasn't real big on the old extended canon before Disney took over, but I think the original plan, if they did a trilogy after the original trilogy, if they did a new trilogy before Disney bought them, it was going to end with Leia being the actual balance to the Force. So she was going to be kind of the big wig to everything. So
I would have preferred that to Rey. I mean,
I think most people would. But anyways. All right, we should probably wrap this up because we've been talking again too long.
I'm doing a bad job of
I'll just bring up.
So for those who are listening, JC was getting honest about how long we take and we drone on, etc., 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 and now she has just taken part in this droning. So welcome to the team.
I can't even get a word in. You guys are so like. However,
Star Wars. We gotta talk about Star Wars. All right. Any last comments before we shift gears?
No.
I'm excited.
I was just gonna bring up. I saw a really funny meme that showed Organa on his knee telling Leia about how important and how much she's gonna be able to do, and like right when it ends, all you see is the laser beam hitting Alderaan. I thought it was. He's like, "You're gonna do so much, Leia," and then it's like. I thought it was funny.
Oh no!
Oh, that's cold. That's cold right there.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.